Shimoneta, the most brain-dead dumpster fire ever animated. Let me introduce you to Shimoneta, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist, the absolute rock bottom of anime that somehow convinced studios to waste actual electricity animating this visual cancer. This pathetic excuse for entertainment pretends to be a smart satire about censorship when it's really just 12 episodes of the most desperate, juvenile attempts at humor since your 12-year-old cousin discovered what genitals are. The premise, and I'm using air quotes big enough to cause windstorms, centers on a Japan where anything remotely sexual is banned, which might have been an interesting concept if it wasn't immediately abandoned to show panty-obsessed teenagers screaming about bodily fluids every 14 seconds. The show thinks saying penis 500 times constitutes comedy gold, proving the writers have the creative range of a horny middle schooler who just found their first Victoria's Secret catalog. The animation quality looks like someone gave a chimpanzee methamphetamines, 3 crayons, and told it to draw human beings from memory after watching 5 minutes of anime once in 2006. Characters move like they're underwater while simultaneously having seizures, with facial expressions that toggle between generic anime surprise face and having a violent bowel movement. The art style combines the worst elements of early 2000s mass-produced garbage with the budget of a high school film project, resulting in character designs that manage to be both lazy and aggressively unappealing, a special achievement in incompetence that deserves its own category at awards shows. The absolute tragedy masquerading as the protagonist, Tanekichi Okumura, has all the personality and charisma of a damp kitchen sponge that's been sitting in the sink for 3 weeks. This walking cardboard cutout somehow gets involved with Blue Snow, the sexual terrorist alter ego of Anna Nishikinomiya's childhood friend, Ayame Kaju, who believes fighting censorship means assaulting people with her underwear and shrieking about genitalia until your eardrums commit suicide. The writers desperately want you to think she's some revolutionary freedom fighter, when she's really just the personification of an edgy teenager who discovered Urban Dictionary and won't shut up about it. Then there's Anna Nishikinomiya, the student council president whose entire character is sheltered girl discovers sexual feelings and becomes a rapist. Yes, you read that correctly. The show plays a girl sexually assaulting the main character multiple times for laughs. Imagine if the genders were reversed. The show would have been canceled before the first commercial break. But apparently, it's hilarious when it's a girl forcing herself on a boy. The supporting cast includes such memorable characters as pervert who draws porn, girl who says sex words wrong, and several other interchangeable forgettable faces who exist solely to react to whatever disgusting fluids are being flung around in any given episode. The plot, if you can call this incoherent mess a plot, meanders between repetitive dirty joke scenarios with all the narrative structure of a fever dream. Each episode follows the same tired formula. Someone gets sexually frustrated, someone throws underwear, someone screams about genitals. Rinse and repeat until you're begging for the sweet release of death. There's a half-hearted attempt at social commentary buried somewhere beneath the mountain of panty jokes and bodily fluid gags, but it's executed with such stunning incompetence that comparing it to actual satire is like comparing a child banging randomly on a piano to Mozart. The show desperately wants you to think it's making some profound statement about freedom of expression and government overreach, but it's about as subtle and insightful as being bludgeoned with a dictionary where every definition has been replaced with the word sex in 72-point font. Any legitimate point about censorship is immediately undermined by yet another scene of a girl throwing her underwear at someone's face or cookies shaped like reproductive organs. It's the animated equivalent of someone screaming, "But what about free speech?" after getting kicked out of a funeral for showing everyone their genitals. The sound design and voice acting somehow manage to make this dumpster fire even worse, with characters shrieking their lines at volumes that could trigger avalanches. The English dub actors sound like they're being held at gunpoint, desperately trying to make this material work while silently updating their resumes between takes. The background music is so forgettable that it might as well be replaced with white noise, occasionally interrupted by an opening theme that tries desperately to sound edgy but ends up as memorable as beige wallpaper. The direction and pacing are non-existent, with episodes dragging on like a DMV line in purgatory, stretching 3 minutes of actual content into 24 minutes of torture through needless reaction shots and characters explaining jokes that weren't funny in the first place. It's like watching a bad stand-up comedian bomb for 5 hours straight, then having them explain why their jokes should have been funny. then bombing again. In conclusion, Shimoneta isn't just bad anime. It's an aggressive assault on good taste, intelligence, and the very concept of entertainment itself. It represents everything wrong with the medium. Lazy writing hiding behind shock value, one-dimensional characters existing solely for fan service, and the delusion that saying taboo words automatically equals comedy. Anyone who genuinely enjoys this show should be required to wear a warning label in public so the rest of us can maintain a safe distance. The only thing this anime successfully satirizes is the viewer's patience and the absolute rock-bottom standards of whoever greenlit this project. If you want actual intelligent commentary on censorship, literally anything else would be better. Read a book, watch paint dry, or just bang your head against a wall for 5 hours. All would be more intellectually stimulating and less painful than subjecting yourself to this animated crime against humanity.